Hey guys, welcome to Midwest Fantasy Football Week 11. This week's high score and biggest blowout. The Deuces Quad D thumped Lee's vaccine mandate 136.8 to 75.9, a margin of 60.9 points. Alex was led by 38.5 from Austin Eckler and 36.5 from Aaron Rodgers. That's two of the top four players this week for a combined 75 points. Travis Kelce added 16.3 and Robbie Gould added another 14.3. Two players combining for 75 points nicely offset the two poor games that you did have at running back, as both Ty Johnson and Jamal Williams combined for less than 3.
Why can't I have nice things?
You had no better running back performances on your bench. The only noteworthy player sitting there was Kirk Cousins, and he still scored less than Rodgers, but put up a respectable 25.2 points. This is your first high score of the season and second overall. For Lee, you got 27 points from Devontae Adams and 21 from Dalvin Cook. You had a few off games this week that limited your scoring potential, with Dak Prescott only putting up 2.6 points, Brandon Cooks only 2.8, Tennessee's defense 2.2, and Younghoe Koo putting up a 0 for Atlanta. No real home runs for you on the bench either, as the most points from anybody there was 6.3 points from Jordan Howard. In Week 11's closest game, Jason's best of times, worst of times, defeated my Hilaire's No Way I Win This 103.9 to 97.5, a 6.4 point margin of victory. Jason was led by DeAndre Swift with 24.1 points and a very solid squad, as 6 other players put up double-digit numbers. The only real poor performances this week were 1.7 from Kenny Galladay and 0.8 from Buffalo's defense. You could have picked up maybe 8 more points by swapping out Jarvis Landry in for Kenny Galladay into your flex, and then maybe putting in Ronald Jones as your flex instead of Galladay. For me, I got 28.6 from Elijah Moore, 19.3 from Tom Brady, and 16.2 from Nick Folk. My biggest mistake was thinking that Wayne Gallman Jr. was actually going to be useful. I should have trusted the media reports that he wasn't going to have a big role on Thursday, but I had some good luck with dart throws recently on Thursday Night Football. Randall Cobb, Elijah Moore. I tried to do it again, and this one actually burned me. That led me to 1 carry for negative 3 yards. Not what you're going for. The smarter play would have been waiting till Sunday to see if Edwards-Helaire was actually going to play and not blow my roster spot on Thursday night for a backup running back on a team that absolutely sucks at running the ball. Their running back is a wide receiver. Could have gotten in CEH or Zach Ertz in for Dawson Knox. Either one of those would have led to me to a win.
Come on, man, that's obvious.
Elsewhere, Chris's 2 men in a defense defeated Brandon's blown call 95.8 to 81.1. Chris got 38% of his team score from Justin Jefferson's 36.2 point day versus Green Bay. Tyreek Hill added 15.5 and 11.8 from Justin Tucker. No one else put up more than 10 points on your team, including your bench, which had a couple 9-point players. Brandon's squad was very top-heavy, getting 24.4 from Nick Chubb, 20.6 from Darnell Mooney, and 17.3 from Mike Evans. That's 77% of your team score from 33% of the players. Zach Moss just put up a half of a point, and you got zeros from both Dan Arnold and Randy Bullock. You had the points to catch Chris if you had Gronk on the bench with 10.1, Greg Delega with 11.1, and Devin Singletary with 5.8. Once again, the Buffalo Bills running back core burned you as you picked the wrong back in a game where Buffalo spent the whole game trying to catch up to Indianapolis. All passing, no running. Went to go get a beer, and for some reason I grabbed a smoothie sour. So that's what I'm currently drinking. It's not helping the cough style. Like, I'm going to, a sour beer is not going to help clean up the throat a little bit. It's called a Smoothie Sour from the Brewing Project. Nick's T-Boner showing beat Drew's Anchor CMC 99.3 to 85.3. Nick finally breaks the losing streak, getting 19.6 from Deontay Johnson, 15.7 from Keenan Allen, 12.3 from Mark Ingram, and 11.5 from San Francisco's defense, and 10.4 from Mac Jones. Still have no faith in Tyler Lockett, leaving him on your bench for another week, this week putting up 13.5 points. Seems to be the third week in a row that you've now guessed wrong with him. That sounds like fun.
No, it's really not.
For Drew, it looks like CMC is back in full force. He put up 21.4 points this week after 21.1 last week. That was followed up by a pair of 15-point games from San Francisco's duo of Jimmy Garoppolo and Deebo Samuel. Unfortunately, you were hoping for a Cordarrelle Patterson start Thursday night. Didn't get it, so he put up a 0 for you at the running back position. You could have swapped in Tony Pollard for 9.6 points more, but I don't think he scored enough points to catch Nick. You didn't have anyone with more points than Pollard and his 9 points on your bench. Trent Scudell Castro rolled past Tom's I Can See for miles and miles, 135.6 to 106.8. Jonathan Taylor is a bad man. 54.9 points this week. I saw on Reddit over the weekend that this was a top 10 PPR game since 1970. 204 total yards, 3 catches, and 5 touchdowns. Yeah, top 10 PPR game, and he had 3 catches. That's going to win most weeks for you.
The best of the best of the best of the best of the best.
Following Jonathan Taylor, you got 17.2 from Jalen Waddle and 17.1 from the Tampa Bay defense. Tampa Bay plays Indianapolis this weekend, and the strength of Tampa Bay's defense is up front, stopping the rush. It should be interesting to see if Taylor just continues to run over everyone, or if Tampa Bay can actually shut him down. It wasn't all just peaches and cream for you, Trent. You got 2.9 from CeeDee Lamb and a -1 from kicker Chase McLaughlin. McLaughlin. Tom, you did actually have a decent week, breaking the 100-point barrier with 4 players putting up between 19 and 16 points. Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, Tua, and the corpse of Myles Gaskin. Myles had his best game of the season. Must have been bolstered by the return of Miles Sanders to the starting lineup. You could have picked up another 10 points by benching Devontae Smith and for the other Devontae Freeman, but Smith has been red hot, so it would have been a tough call to make, Don. It'll be interesting to see if you're going to try to start Devonta Freeman into your starting lineup this week, with Titans cutting AP and Jeremy McNichols in the concussion protocol at the moment.
I've got a concussion.
Pope 2.0's Pew Pews defeated Derek some motherfucker 133 to 103.9. Eric stays hot and remains in first place after winning his 5th straight game. He got 37.3 from Justin Herbert to lead the team, followed by 27.3 from Joe Mixon. The wide receiver combo of Terry McLaurin and Chris Godwin combined to add another 35 points. You had the optimal lineup in a week where you had Cooper Kupp on your bench on the bye, along with Javonte Williams, Tyler Higbee, and the Denver defense. Heavy bye week for you. The only player who was even active on your bench was T.Y. Hilton, who only put up 3.6 points. The slide continues for Derek, matching Eric's 5-game winning streak with a 5-game losing streak. You were led by 26.2 points from Cam Newton and a pair of 18-point games from Brandon Ayuk and Mike Williams. This looks like the week to potentially end your losing streak as you're playing Josh, who's currently sitting in last. You are favored by 25 points in the matchup at the moment, but you know what they say.
Given Sunday, Kev, anything can.
Finally, Pope 1.0's Serenity Now beat Josh's Oh God This Again 90.2 to 76.2. Pope 1.0 was led by a massive 30.3-point game from the New England defense, beating up on the hapless Falcons on Thursday night. That was a third of your team points from one defensive unit. Following that up with 18.4 points from James Conner, 13.5 from DJ Moore, and 11.3 from Mark Andrews. A couple of goose eggs for you this week as well, getting 0 points from Tyler Bass and Braylon Edwards.
The big goose egg.
For Josh, you had a 30-point game as well, getting Jalen Hurts continues to play well for the Eagles. His 30.8-point game was a massive 40% of your team's output. Darren Waller added 15 points, but beyond that was a little bit of a struggle. Mason.
Captain John Patrick Mason, General, sir.
Mason Crosby. Mason Crosby managed to add 7.4 points despite his struggles. Green Bay got lit up by Cousins and Jefferson, so their defense didn't really do a whole lot. And all of your wide receivers and running backs put up less than 5 points apiece. Nick Stat Corner didn't really have a whole lot this week that I haven't already covered. The only noteworthy update that he sent me from Week 11 was that Jason got a rare win against me, now moving to 3 wins and 9 losses in our matchups. Back to last week, Josh hit his 80th loss all time, Derek hit his 60th loss all time, and Pope 2.0 finally got a regular season win versus Pope 1.0. Now 1 win versus 9 losses all time. I don't have this written down here, but I remember Nick talking about this in the conversation we were having earlier this afternoon, where apparently for the original 8 members of the league, we are now all at 130 regular season games played. So, really, the free agency bidding today was fairly boring. Only a player that was actually contested was Michael Badgley, who went to Derek with a massive $1 winning bid over Trent and Lee. Trent snagged MVS for $10, but other than that, no player had a higher than a $5 fab bidding.
This is boring.
In terms of the playoff picture, there's 3 weeks left in the regular season, and we've got a pretty good idea about the top and the bottom of the league, and then there's a lot of questions in the middle. At the top, Eric and Alex are pretty much both locks, unless they were to lose out and people behind them are going to put up some 200-plus point games. The 5 teams right now at 4 and 7 are also basically out. Maybe one will sneak in if we win out, but that relies on the teams in the middle to falter. Derek and Brandon are both chomping on Jason's heels as he's in the 6th spot. Brandon's got a pretty big point difference to make up. He's 160 points behind Jason, meaning you probably have to win 2 more games than Jason in order to steal his spot. The playoff calculator doesn't really like your odds of doing that. You only have just a 3% chance to make it. It's not a lot better for Derek. You're kind of in the same boat, needing to grab 2 more wins than Jason, or just 1 more win and closing that 75-point scoring difference, which is about 25 points per week more than Jason. We're looking at 7 teams for 6 playoff spots, so it'll be an interesting race down to the end. In terms of wagers, Tom and I made a wager this week on our upcoming matchup. Winner gets a 6-pack, and the loser gets 1 step closer to facing the 8 seed in the loser bracket. Notable matchups this week. There are 4 of the 4 and 7 teams matched up against each other. First and fourth, Eric and Trent are also matched up against each other. And second and fifth, Alex and Chris are playing against each other. Will the top seeds get further ahead and throw more confusion into the playoff chase? Will the lower seeds win and bring some drama into the bye week chase for the top seeds in the playoffs? Find out next week. We'll see you for the Week 12 recap.